So hello everyone, I welcome you all to the Concept YouTube channel. So today's topics are in the Hindu analysis. First is about the selective prosecution. What do you mean by selective prosecution? And you can use the argument mentioned in this article under GS paper 2. Second is about the OECD methodology, the concept of negative support, that we will try to understand what basically is negative support to farmers. Then we will try to understand data localization. What do you mean by data localization? There are many aspects that we are going to discuss. One is data localization. Second is about the data security part, because without ensuring data security, we cannot go for what we call it as a data privacy or the privacy of the individual. Many of the committees and commissions have highlighted about the protection of the privacy. We need a data security law in the country. So all these aspects will be discussed under the article. The question can be framed under GS paper 3. Next is about a judicial overreach. This is also a very important topic. It is the responsibility of the judiciary, executive and legislature that they define and they follow and respect the principle of separation of power. It is again very important, principle of separation of power. So there is need to focus on this as well. Then we will discuss about death penalty. There are a few news, and in the end I will give you the mains question. So this session is presented by me. My name is Saurabh Pandey. You can join me on Unacademy. I take current affair classes in the month of March. After completing agriculture, I will launch IR and science and technology course from prelims perspective, and current affair course will be launched every month. It has been launching since last 1.5 year around. So you can be a part of this course. In addition, there are many batch courses by India's top educators for the prelims specific 2022-2023. You can be a part of that as well. I'm also taking agriculture. Other optional are also available. So what you have to do, you have to take Unacademy subscription, combined subscription of GS and optional. You can go for it. Visit unacademy.com. The link is given in the description box of this session. Visit unacademy.com, select UPSC CSE, select the duration 1 year or 2 year, and get this combination, because you need to study both optional and general studies, and you can carry out your planned preparation with India's top educator. So use the code SPLive. Once you are using this code SPLive, you will be able to access my courses and courses by all the top educators at the same point of time. To access special classes, free special classes, you can also use this code. To download the PDF of this session, the link is given in the description box. You have to visit this Telegram channel, that is SP Current Affairs. To send your answer of the question that I give in the end, you can visit this channel, that is Daily Dose with S. Pandey. So that is again very important. So let's start the topic. This topic. The first topic is about defending liberty against political prosecution. This is a very important topic. Question can be framed under GS paper 2 polity section. So what basically is what we call it as selective prosecution. The argument related with selective prosecution, it can be used while there is a question related with the power of the government or misuse of the power. So we can say we have on many occasions observed the abuse of state power in India. There are power with the government itself. There is also a possibility that this power can be abused. Sometimes agencies like police or any other enforcement agencies can be used to carry out selective prosecution. It means suppose in a state government there is one political party, or in the center there is one political party. They can use these agencies to arrest or to carry out criminal intimidation against an opponent or the person who is against their ideology. So this selective prosecution is against what we call it as against the constitutional article. You can mention article 14, which talk about right to equality, and article 21, that is related with what we call it as right to life. So this selective prosecution is totally against the constitutional claims. It is also against article 14. This has been highlighted. We need to protect the citizens and everyone from the arbitrary use of any kind of power. Recently, one of the journalists of popular TV, what we call it, at news channel. So he has been arrested, and at that point of time, a question arises whether such kind of proactiveness can be shown in case of other people as well. What we have to improve is speedy delivery of justice. That need to be focused, and it is also need to be ensured that this justice is delivered to everyone, and the principle of equality is followed in every case. That need to be understood. And if we are doing what we call it as selective prosecution, then it is totally against article 14 and article 21. If any of the citizen depending upon his belief or depending upon his ideology or his views are against the ruling political power, that citizen, if any kind of allegation of criminal wrongdoing is done without fair trial or fair investigation, agencies cannot take action, or they can take selective prosecution. That need to be avoided. This has been highlighted by the Honorable Supreme Court. So if this is done, again we need to state this article, that is article 14 and article 21. So it is the responsibility of the government itself, and it is the responsibility of the judiciary as well to protect civil liberty, maintain equality, and for the protection of the democracy, it is to be seen that these selective prosecution are avoided, and abuse of police and prosecutorial powers need to be limited or eliminated. And it can only be done if the process and the procedures of laws are properly followed. Next is about agriculture. This topic can be asked under GS paper 3, agriculture sector, in section agriculture, because this is also a very important topic if you talk about. So this is also a very important topic. So let's discuss about it, because the question can be framed related to this topic. Recently a report has been published by OECD, and certain data are put forward by OECD. So we need to understand whether these data are proper, or are these data taking into consideration the reality in the agriculture sector in India or not, or there are certain flaws related with the methodology opted by OECD. So recently OECD put its estimate, and it stated that Indian farmer received a negative support to an extent of rupees 2.36 lakh crore and minus rupees 1.62 lakh crore. Now what is negative support? What basically is negative support? This question can arise. No, so to understand the negative support, we need to understand the kind of a price mechanism which is there. Take the case of countries like USA or any country like European Union. Just take the case of USA. Around 2% of the workforce, 2% of the workforce is engaged in agriculture sector. Suppose they are producing wheat, and if they are producing wheat, they would like to export, because in these countries, either Europe or USA, they are producing more wheat in comparison to the consumption. So they want that wheat to be exported. So they want to export in different countries. Suppose the price of their wheat is around $10 for 20 kg. This is the price, this is the international price, but in the price in country like India, the domestic price is around $5 for 20 kg. Now no one will prefer to buy wheat with the higher price. So it is stated that why the price is less. The price is less due to market distortion, which is visible because of the support offered by the government of that country. For example, in India, 70 to 80% farmers are small and marginal. And Indian government provides different types of support in the form of subsidy. Now, because of the support provided to small and marginal farmers, or because the support is provided to all the farmers, and because of that their cost of production reduces, and when their cost of production reduces, they have a greater competitive advantage in international market. This has been highlighted, and the kind of such support provided by the government to the farmer, we call this as negative support. As per OECD or other agencies at the international, they call it as a kind of a negative support provided to the farmer. So despite overall negative support, many of the central and state governments in India, their expenditure on agriculture has continuously increased. Their support from rupees 1.61 lakh crore to rupees 3 lakh crore observed during the year 2015 to 19, registering 85% growth. It is said, or we can say the kind of argument made by OECD that the difference in domestic and international prices is because of government support. It's because of the government support. This logic or this thought process is proved to be not that rational. The reason being, the price, there can be a difference in the price due to many factors. The factor can be, we can say there are different factors responsible for this. For example, the factor can be related with COVID-19 pandemic, or the factors can be related with weather conditions or depressed international prices, or it can also be possible that this year the kind of support offered to the farmer, next year it may prove to be less, and it may be possible that international prices may be lower in comparison to the domestic prices. The international players may earn what we call it as the competitiveness. Next is again a very important topic. This topic is related with data security. This is again a very important topic. The question can be framed under GS paper 3. We all are aware about the privacy policy of WhatsApp. Many of citizens in the country, they have registered their protest against the privacy policy of WhatsApp. Many have uninstalled the WhatsApp app and they are using some other app. And because of this, WhatsApp has delayed the implementation of its privacy policy. Now, many questions arises that why WhatsApp has followed such kind of privacy policy. To understand that, we need to see in today's scenario the growing aspect of digital economy. It is stated that in this 21st century, digital economy will prevail, and digital because of the increase in use of digital technology, because of internet penetration, many of startups are emerging. Now Facebook want to be more relevant. Facebook paid feature, which is related with the promotion, it always highlight that small businesses can run and can sustain by using Facebook or Facebook promotion. To be more relevant and to be more targeted, it wants more relevant data. The source of data can be WhatsApp, because Facebook is a parent company, and what's the data generated through WhatsApp can be used by the Facebook, and by using that data it can carry out a targeted approach for the promotion, and it may prove to be more relevant if you talk about the Facebook. Now, under such consideration, if the data are shared, it may result into the breach of privacy. Many of the citizens may ask that it is totally against their consent, and if the data are used by the Facebook without their consent, it is totally against their privacy. In European Union, Facebook has created a different approach, or we can say it follows a different approach. The data generated through WhatsApp is never used in Facebook. The bifurcation is maintained, or distinction is maintained in European Union. The reason is the strict data laws. In our country, there is no data security law, so we need a data security law. If we will focus, or we will create a data security law, we can compel such companies to follow these laws. Without law, the arbitrariness or we can say the discretionary approach of such companies will further increase. So the first point that we need is a data law. That data law need to be formulated. Once the data law is formulated, we can focus on data localization. It means the data can be stored in our country, because if the data is stored somewhere else, then the law of the country will not apply. The law of the country will not apply. In general, if you talk about, for example, if India's data is stored in some other country, the law will not apply. Means Indian law will not apply. Under such consideration, data need to be localized, or data need to be stored in India itself. And if the data is stored, then we can work on data security aspect. It means we can work in the area of cyber security. So all these things are linked. You need to connect data localization with data security, and we also need to improve the digital literacy if you are increasing digital penetration. So all these points have been highlighted in this article. You can download the PDF from the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. Next is about, are court encroaching on the power of the executive? So this is also a very important article. The question can be framed under polity section. The principle of separation of power need to be maintained. It is to be seen that judiciary, executive and legislature, they need to respect their domain. They need to respect the constitutional jurisdiction defined in the constitution itself. If judiciary is entering into executive or legislative domain, we can say judiciary is trying to extend its arm to capture the power of executive and legislature, which is we can say against which is totally against the principle of separation of power, which is mentioned in our constitution. Separation of power. The separation of power principle need to be abided not only by executive and legislature, but also by the judiciary. So we need to understand that if separation of power principle is not followed by either of these institutions or pillar of democracy, it may affect the governance, and it may also result in conflict between different pillars in the democracy itself. For example, take the case of the controversial farm laws. These farm laws were passed by the legislature, and executive was trying to implement these laws. The argument is made that whether the Supreme Court has power to what we call it as to stay the implementation of these law, or the responsibility of the Supreme Court was to check the constitutionality of these laws, whether the laws have been framed as per the constitutional basic structure or not, or the constitutional provisions are followed while formulating these laws. In contrast to checking the constitutionality of the provision, Honorable Supreme Court has formulated a committee which will take the responsibility of negotiation with the farmers, which is again the responsibility of the executive. So this is a classic case which defines that the judiciary is taking the function of executive. Judiciary is taking the function of executive. You can see or you can observe also, like the question was asked in GS paper 2 this year. So such kind of argument, if such questions are asked related with the separation of power principle, you can quote these examples. Again, there is one more argument, the argument related with the precedent power. This argument can also be used. The precedent power enshrined under Article 356. This is also an executive power. This is also an executive power. The framer gave court the important power to strike down parliamentary law if the laws are against the constitutional provision. With this argument, we can say that this law or such law has given a power to judiciary to interfere in any of the law passed by the legislature, which may result in conflict between the legislature, executive and judiciary. Take the case of precedent power under Article 356. So it was the prerogative of Honorable President to check the implementation, where to use Article 356. It was the responsibility, or it was within the jurisdiction of the Honorable President. But after SR Bomai case, court has challenged the subjective satisfaction. It means what kind of document or the situation has been put forward in front of President, by using which Honorable President has imposed precedent rule. So that subjective satisfaction can be questioned. With this approach, or with this case, certain executive functions like precedent rule, imposing precedent rule has also been checked by the judiciary, or the approval or the imposition need to be taken by the judiciary. Next is about the case to dispose a mercy petition. This is also a very important topic under GS paper 2 under polity section. The question can be framed with related to mercy petition. So many arguments has been put forward with respect to delay in carrying out the death penalty. For example, if a mercy petition is filed, the final decision need to be taken by the Honorable President, but the decision or the recommendation is given by Ministry of Home Affairs. So sometimes what happens, the file circulates among different officials in different organizations and institutions, which may result into delay up to 20 years. And because of such delay, a person who has filed the mercy petition may face psychological trauma. So it is said that if the mercy petition is filed, it need to be seen, either it is rejected or accepted, but the decision need to be taken within a particular time frame. If things are not done within the time frame, it may result into psychological trauma. So it is suggested that time frame is created by using which the decision related with the mercy petition need to be taken. Also, in 2015, Honorable Law Commission has also proposed abolishing the death penalty, and it sought the comment of states and union territory. India figures among 56 nations of the world that have retained the death penalty. 142 have abolished it. So always there is a debate on the abolition of the death penalty, but still, if the mercy petition is filed, the decision related to it need to be taken in a time frame, and accountability also need to be ensured if because of certain procedural delay is taking place. If certain procedural delay is taking place, under such consideration the accountability need to be ensured. The official responsibility for such delay need to be made accountable. Only then we can improve our criminal justice system. Next is about the China defends new village in Arunachal Pradesh. So China is trying to China is always tries to follow its what we call it as expansionist tendency. Along the Arunachal Pradesh also there is a line called McMahon line, and this McMahon line is abided by India, but it is not followed by China. China states that such law such demarcation is not right, because the time during which the agreement was signed between the British India and Tibet, at that point of time, because it was signed by the Tibet, at that point of time Tibet was not part of China. China says that Tibet had no sovereign power to sign such agreement. So a new agreement need to be formulated, and again a new agreement need to be formulated or signed, or negotiation need to be taken place, and after that demarcation can be made, as a result of which China always tries to put its claim in Arunachal Pradesh, especially in Tawang region. Although the basic idea or the approach or the intention of China is to create a buffer area between India and Tibet, because Tibet has been illegally occupied by China. So China wants to create a buffer area, and this buffer area will protect the Chinese occupation or the areas like Tibet from the reach of India, and it will also be able, China will also be able to limit the demand or the claim of India in respect to these areas, for example Aksai Chin or Tibet. Let's see the question. Question is, data localization without proper data security cannot ensure data privacy. You have to explain this article. You can send your answer to Telegram channel Daily Dose with S.Pandey. Don't forget to like the session, share the session, and do subscribe the Concept YouTube channel. Thank you everyone.